Hey, listen, I'm going to introduce you to three of the most interesting people who have been in the room all day today. Number one, the living legend. He's a coach. I'm talking about you, Larry. You ready? He's a coach. He's a champion. He is the man with the plan. He is one of my first ever pickleball card guys. This is Larry Gordon. Everybody give it up for Larry. There is nobody I know who does better personal branding than Larry. He's the man all the way. Hold on, I'm just getting to the right slide. I'm doing three things at one time. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Here we go. All right, there we go. So Larry's out of Hollywood, Florida. Larry, introduce yourself real quick. No, you got to put the green button on. Let it go. Here. Go, talk. You got it.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Larry Gordon. I'm 75 years old. I'm almost dead, but not yet. I still have a few shots left. So pickleball has been an amazing thing. You know, most of the people that were playing when I started playing were senior citizens, people over 50, let's say.
Just a quick intro.
And that's it?
Yeah, we'll get to everything.
And I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Larry. I want to make sure everybody knows everybody on the panel. We got Mike DiLecce over here. He's from City Pickle, running one of the most unique, innovative, and prosperous pickleball adventures. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Adam. Great to be here with you all. I'm actually relatively new to the pickleball space. Started with City Pickle about 2.5 years ago. We are based up in New York City and one of the leading urban pickleball operators in the country. So it's great to be here.
Thanks for being here, Mike. And then, okay, give it up for Mike. They love you. And then we have over here an absolute hero in the history of pickleball. He's got 2 ventures, 2 pickleball facilities in Houston, and he's part owner of the Houston Hammers of the National Pickleball League. This is Rommie, Dr. Rommie Maxey. Here, take this one. You did it? You turned this one. I got it.
He turned it off. So, Larry, we're going to have to work on your, not your age, but the ability to work the microphone. No, I'm kidding. Good to see everybody again. This is my 3rd trip up here, and so I have, just to let you know, he introduced me pretty much. Part of the Hammers, part of a couple clubs, part of Acacia Pickleball, international. I've trained over 12,000 players just in my part-time when I'm messing around, so this is what I do, pickleball. Thanks.
Give it up for Rommie. And rounding out this illustrious group is me, Adam Bricker. I'm with Pickleball Cards. I have innovative ways to get people to see you, meet you, connect with you, and then really, most importantly, remember you. So if you're one of the speakers here, you have your picture around your neck. I call it a pickleball card. Everybody here sees it. Now, what happens when you leave? I put it on the website. I put it on the connections. That way you can remember who you met over here, because it's all about relationships. So we're going to all collaborate together. We have 4 different, hugely different groups over here on how we market, who our target audience is. And let's just start with target audience. Guys, let's just go through the panel real quick. Let everybody know who your target audience is. You want to start, Larry?
So my target audience for my product lines and my services would be pickleball players, and mostly women players. I have a clothing line, and that goes to 70% to the women, and we market towards them. In my pickleball coaching or camps, we get about 70 or 80% women that come out. Their husbands are working, so they could afford to go to, so their wives could afford me. And I really think that when you choose people to represent your companies, okay, that you make sure that these people are centers of influence, and that's the key.
Centers of influence. Okay, so pickleball players is your number 1 client.
Definitely.
All right, guys, got that? Pickleball players. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for us as operators, it's pickleball players as well. Being in New York City, it's been interesting because it's a market that was late to adopt pickleball. So for us, we're still really going after people that have never played before. It's been a little bit different than down here in South Florida. So, targeting new players has been a really interesting endeavor where we've leaned on, PR, traditional media, as well as brand partnerships, which I'm sure we might get into a little bit more, some of the things we're doing on the partnership side. So I would say we're going after all players, but specifically newer players.
Outstanding. So newer players and collaborations and partnerships, we'll get into that in a minute. And Dr. Rommie, you?
Well, on the club side, it's the recreational player. We're not too concerned about the player that's over 4 or 5. They tend to have a tendency not to be very loyal to individual clubs. So it's more the beginner, recreational, 3-0, 3-5 type player that spend more time at your club than the higher level players. They want to just kind of go in their own separate ways.
All right, so let's make sure we all identify with the target markets that are here. That's the number one thing. If you leave here with one nugget, it's totally focused on your target market. Don't try to reach everybody. Reach the right person for your market. So let's just go back down to Larry. Larry's a living legend. He's a coach in Hollywood, Florida, and he's got everything he needs to be the number one most recognizable coach in his area. Larry, go ahead and tell him what that business model looks like.
So when you want to be, are there any other coaches out there? People that own clubs that have coaches. So you want your coaches to be generally really, really specific. Okay, you want them to target the different levels of play at your club. And work towards those groups, giving them their clinics. You want to be able to have your pros represent you, your club, and the products that you sell that you want those pros representing for you. You want it to be with people that are good citizens. Just because somebody's a good player doesn't mean that they're a good representative for you. Okay, you want people that are good citizens, people that are, I started to mention it earlier, that are centers of influence. So that when they say something, the people that are in their sphere listen to them and actually believe what they're saying because they've always been that way. And it's really a really basic thing. Those of you that know about the law of 80-20, that you can have 10 salesmen and 80% of them will do 20% of the business and vice versa. It's like that. So if you get 10 pickleball pros to represent you, you're not going to even get 20% that'll do a good job. Maybe you'll get 1 out of 20 that will represent you well because they're not experts at anything but pickleball. So just beware when you go and you get people to hire people for your clubs, hire people to coach you, hire people to represent your companies, that you want pros out there and people that when they speak, other people will listen to them because they have a track record of being in the know.
Love that, Larry. Thank you for sharing. Larry calls them centers of influence. Malcolm Gladwell calls them mavens in his book, The Tipping Point. And if you're running a business and you want more customers, you haven't read Tipping Point, I highly recommend it. We have a fellow in the back. His name's Mike. He's from Vare. And Mike uses a model that he's going to find out that if he has people in his center of influence, that's how he's going to grow the fastest. Cool. All right, let's go on to you, Mike, with regards to the same question.
Yeah, so I mean, for us, the way that we've approached it, being in the media capital of the country, is we have we've made the strategic decision to go with a PR firm and use earned media to facilitate our growth. So, in less than 3 years, we've actually earned over 17 billion earned media impressions, which is a pretty staggering number for a new consumer brand. We've been covered, multiple times in the New York Times, New York Post, Daily Mail. The list goes on. We've also been covered locally by the affiliates of NBC, Fox, etc. And what that's meant for us is we've been able to basically spend $0 on advertising so far while amassing over 130,000 players in our booking software. So that's been one of the major drivers for us in reaching our targets.
How many impressions did you say you had?
About 17 billion.
You guys hear
Yeah.
this? 17 billion. Okay, so we're going from large and extreme all the way down to solopreneur. And right in the middle over there is Rommie and your clubs. Go ahead and share what you have.
Well, one of the things that we require is, and I write up a curriculum for all of our hired personnel in the coaching area and the instructional area. And there's two different factors. When you say coaching and instruction, for me, that's two different things. And so our instructors have a curriculum that I've drawn up, and they follow that curriculum, not necessarily to a T. We let them have some freedom as to how they express themselves, but the curriculum based on, return to serve, third shot, all of those things is curriculum based, and we require that from all of our instructors, so I can follow that and go around and make sure they're doing those kinds of things. And we also make sure that all of our instructors are nationally certified. Being nationally certified, there's several different organizations that are available to do that, and we think that's important only for their own well-being and for those that might consider that important. Like I said earlier, I've trained over 12,000 players, and not one yet has asked me if I'm certified, but it's still a good thing to have.
Outstanding. So now you guys can see this widespread of successful companies that we're dealing with. Let's get a little interactive over here. You guys lead the way and everybody follows. Okay? We're going to raise your hand if you're participating in a particular form of advertising, media, or marketing. All right, real quick. One-on-one sales calls. Raise your hand if you're in. You can do it in the audience too. One-on-one sales calls. Okay, down. Social media. Okay, down. Social media that you hire somebody to do for you. Okay, local advertising. The leverage of affiliates to represent your company. Big-time advertising campaigns. Looks like that's not needed in pickleball. What do you think, Mike?
I think it depends. It depends on the market. It depends on the target audience. For us, we haven't had to do it just yet. But I think we all have to ask ourselves the question of what our goals are with our marketing and advertising, and kind of work backwards from there, and be strategic about really, accomplishing those goals specifically. So I think there are certain cases where that certainly would be the right move. City Pickle just hasn't gone that direction yet.
Go ahead, Larry.
So Ted Turner, the great Ted Turner, said that early to bed and early to rise, work like hell and advertise. Well, I believed him. Unless I was in the desert, then we moisturized. But I advertise pickleball on television. I buy commercial time, I produce commercials and advertise on TV, and I want to tell all of you, it works. Okay, you can advertise if you have your pros, you can advertise them on television in 15 or 30-second spots on the news or whatever you decide to run it on, and it's not the most expensive thing in the world in the local markets, and it really produces. And I advertise during the when the PPA goes on regular network television. I advertise with I think Fox was running them, and I advertise with them. And I mean, like, I ship paddles. I'm in Hollywood. Like, I just shipped paddles this week to Oregon, to California, to New York. I mean, so far out of my market, people that I would never be reaching. All right, and people fly in to take lessons from me because of my advertising, and I look bigger on TV, I guess, because the TV's, but they still pay me in the end. And I want to tell you something. Advertise. Go big, because it works.
Go ahead.
My turn. We don't do a lot of advertisement. We have a 7 million person population draw in Houston, so we don't have to advertise as much, and we have the #1 club in Houston, so that helps as well. But as far as the advertisement aspect, I think you do. We invite radio stations and television stations to come to us, and they like to come in and do a live segment at our facility because pickleball is a buzzword, that sort of thing. So we invite them to come, and they promote us that way. And then, of course, we can obviously, talk about some of the events we're going to have at our club and that sort of thing. So the advertising, as Larry said, is very important. It's just how you approach that and what you can do in your particular area. One of the things I always say, and I'm just extrapolating the numbers that we have growing in pickleball, is in Houston, for example, I always say this, that there's 10,000 people in 2025 that don't know they're pickleball players yet. That's just the growth. And so we're going to have 10,000 more players this year. We're going to have 10,000 more players next year. So that's good for all the facilities in Houston, but primarily we hope for us.
Outstanding. You guys are getting great insight. Give it up for these guys. All right, going to shift a little gears right now. Mike gave a little taste of this a bit earlier today. I call it collaborative marketing. Well, that's why we're all here. You see what's going on downstairs? George has put together an amazing show. As a matter of fact, his show is so good now and so flush with people that we'll just give him a shout out and congratulations because he would have been here today. So what he's done is put everybody under the same roof. So how can you align yourself with some of the biggest players, some of the strongest people in the industry, some of the local powerhouses, and some of the people who are delivering the same target market that you are? So I'm going to go to Mike first over here. Mike, I know you used a different word than collaborative, but share with everybody how you do that and how it's been successful.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier, we kind of have the evergreen goal of reaching new players that have never played pickleball before. And I think the most effective way that we've been able to do that is through these collaborative marketing partnerships. So we've worked with endemic pickleball brands like Yola and Franklin, which have been great and have certainly helped us build brand awareness and vice versa. But what we're really leaning into is going outside of the pickleball space and working with brands that are trying to get involved and capitalize on the buzz of pickleball. So we've done so with the likes of Mount Sinai, who is our official healthcare partner, brands like Imperial Hats, Athletic Brewing, Soul Cycle, Wonder, just to name a few. And, at first we look for some sort of synergy with our brands and an alignment there. And then we get the opportunity to kind of introduce City Pickle to their audience that is already established. So it's been a great way to reach new players. It's been brand elevating for us, and it's a win-win for the partner as well, as they get to kind of capitalize on the buzz of pickleball. So it's something that we've really been leaning into, and it's probably one of the more exciting areas of what we have going on.
And so you heard Mike, he does intrinsic and extrinsic relationships. So people in the pickleball industry as well as people outside the industry as well. And I know when I go to get coached by Coach Larry over here, Flash Gordon, it's down in Hollywood. And he's got an incredible collaboration in Hollywood for his coaching and other things with PB 1965. So go ahead and take it away, Larry.
So I also have a clothing line, PB 1965, and I've incorporated that in part of my lifestyle, with my teaching and everything. But the way that we really get people, I want to go the more you know, the less you need to learn, and the harder it is to improve because you already know so much. So now I go to people that know more than me, and I figure that out. So I go to places like chambers of commerce. They're also interested in their business community. That's what they do. And I encourage them to come and do events at our parks. I go to the synagogues and the churches. I encourage them to come and do fundraisers at our park. And all this pays out because we besides making our revenue that we would make from that, we also bring in so many new players. We go to the young companies that are in our town. I'm in a busy area, Miami, so we go from Dade and Broward County. We go and we go into corporations, into hotels. When we try to get them to do fundraisers, to do events for their employees that will grow pickleball, that will grow our park, that will grow our coaches' lessons, and just improve the community through pickleball that way. And I think that sometimes we go and look too far. It's right there and under your nose. And use everything you have in your communities.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Rommie?
If you're looking for the advertising and the marketing that you want in your clubs, look no further than your hospitals and your orthopedic surgeons within your community. They want to be a part of what you're doing. The $400 million that was thrown out yesterday in pickleball injuries that may occur this year, which I adamantly, totally disagree with the fact that those are pickleball injuries. They're injuries due to the fact that they weren't ready to play pickleball. However, the number is still there. And so the hospitals need to hear that number, and the doctors need to hear that number, and they will support you in your pickleball efforts. And Larry kind of touched on it, but you'd be surprised. You know, car dealerships that are nearby, restaurants. We just did a deal with a restaurant, and at first they didn't want to come in with us. And they're the closest good restaurant that we have to us, and we couldn't understand why they didn't understand pickleball. And then we took them through the dance and the walk that pickleball is the fastest growing sport, you know, in the country and the world. And they said, oh my gosh. And then we said, okay, look, give me 100 cards for 10% off. Give me 100 cards and 10%. Let's see how fast we go through those at our facility to help you. We went through them in less than a month. Well, guess what? They were banging on our door saying, okay, we get it. And so now we have a big sponsorship with this restaurant. So, you know, there's ways. Give them more than what they want is our attitude when we're looking for sponsorships and advertising.
You know, that's fantastic. I mean, that's what we try to do here. We line ourselves up with sponsors, and in the pickleball industry, there's an illusion of how sponsors are handled, because in the NHL and the NFL and Major League Baseball, you see sponsors all the time, but most people in the pickleball industry don't realize what goes on behind the scenes and the incredible amount of benefits that they get from being a part of it. So just for example, our number one sponsor, our presenting sponsors, Baptist Health. They're a longtime alliance with Carl Foster and the World Pickleball Conference. They have booths downstairs. They get a tremendous amount of exposure for us to who? The right market for them. Once again, you have a card around your neck, but if you look on the back of it, you have two incredible companies, Bright Court and Save My Play. They're really strong in the pickleball world. So what do? We give them the stage. So they're up here, they present what they do. They have booths downstairs, and then they'll have continuing promotions on social media, on our websites, and everything else that we do just for aligning themselves with us. So look everywhere you can to get the people who can promote you, and you can promote them. We have Dink Eyewear in the room, and Craig has an incredible program. You know how he gets his clients? Puts his glasses on them. They walk around pickleball events looking good, seeing good, and of course, once you play in Dink Eyewear, you're going to play better. So, you know, that's what we do. That's what we all do. Cool. Let's go to the final question over here. What are you guys looking for in growth in your business? You guys ask yourself the same questions. Are you looking to double your business? 10% increase, 1,000% increase? Think in your mind, and let's come over here. Mike, what kind of growth is City Pickle looking for?
Yeah, I mean, we are still relatively small in terms of our locations. We have 3 new locations opening in the next 10 months or so. A really exciting project down here in Boca, the Boca Paddle Club, for those of you who have seen that. So we're focused on basically expanding our funnel through new locations. We have about 6 locations in New York City right now, but this time next year, we'll be operating about 70 courts across 9 locations. So for us, it's really just about bringing new players into the fold and just streamlining our profits and operations at our current facilities that are going in New York. So we have a ways to go and some big projects on the horizon, and we're excited about that growth.
And as far as Boca Pickle goes, are you going to have collaborative efforts there?
Yeah, absolutely. We are City Pickle is operating the facility, is also a part owner of the club, but we have some other great local partners. The food and beverage is going to be run by a local farm to table restaurant called the Farmer's Table, if you guys have heard of it. So Brian Levine and Stu Davis also involved, local pickleball mainstays. So it's a really exciting project, and there's a lot of opportunity for partnerships, and we're going to be leaning into that heavily.
Yeah, don't miss out on the partnerships. When you bring in a local 4-star, 5-star restaurant to be your food and beverage, it's a brilliant move, guys. They already have a built-in audience. They already have people who want to be on the scene in Boca, and now they'll be playing pickleball and paddle at Boca Paddle.
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. And we're excited about that partnership to kind of even cater what they're doing a little bit more to grab and go for pickleball. So it'll be a little bit of a different concept, but it should be very complimentary and a great fit.
Outstanding. Good alliance for them as well. How about you, Coach Larry?
So as far as expansion in the future, as far as a coach, there's only 24 hours in the day, and you got to eat and sleep. So we need more coaches. So my growth is adding more people to my staff. It's also in creating new things for my clothing company that involve play. So our clothing company, PB 1965, in the next year is going to be doing more clinics, more nationwide clinics where we go to your town and maybe we share with one of your local pros and we put it together and we do a high-price clinic. Okay, and it works. This stuff really works. Another way that we're going to expand, we've just done it. We just put a store in at one of our public parks, and it seems to be doing pretty well. Okay, and another way to expand is that we are also putting together more local events for people that never played in events. We're putting together tournaments for people that don't play tournaments. So somehow you have to make it attractive to them. And the way that it works best first is to start your people on club events and have them invite people that are from elsewhere to come and join them. So it's like a hybrid. You get one player from your club and you get a guest from another club. And that's how you expand your club and you expand your base of people. And I think that all that stuff works. People just want to play pickleball. The thing that you have to remember, one thing about pickleball that's different from every other sport, and you can use this in everything that you do business-wise and social-wise related to pickleball, is that pickleball is a game of community. You could be anywhere in the world that plays pickleball. Stick your paddle in a rack, and you're going to make 3 new acquaintances. And if you're decent, you might make a friend. Okay? And it doesn't